I'm thriving in Dubai.
The ultimate goal in life, I think, is happiness. I'm curious, what's your personal happiness?
If you can dream it and you are persistent, you can make it.
Dr. Joy Dispenza said,
yes.
when you change your energy, you change your life. Welcome to the Empowered Brilliance podcast, where we dive into the journey of trailblazers leading change in business and leadership. I'm your host, Khatra, and in this podcast, I bring you inspiring stories from Dubai and beyond, where I sit down with remarkable individuals to explore their unique definition of success, personal happiness, and resilience. We dive deep into their journeys of self-mastery, uncovering the lessons they have learned along the way. And today we have a truly inspiring guest, an icon of impact, Dr. Hanane bin Khaluk. As the founder of the platform Tawazun, Dr. bin Khaluk is on a mission to humanize business, balancing profit with purpose. With her Amazon bestseller Seeds of Change and a transformative career across Casablanca, New York, and Dubai, Dr. bin Khaluk is reshaping leadership globally. Let's dive in. Dr. Hanane, welcome to the podcast. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this conversation.
Dr. Hanane, you have humanized business. This is so inspiring. The name bin Khaluk means benevolent in Arabic, which mirrors your leadership style, empathy, purpose, and humanity in business. I'm curious to know, what is the essence of humanizing business?
Thank you for having searched what the meaning of my name. You know, we have a saying in Arabic that means everyone has a share of their name, meaning that your name was meant for you. So somehow we believe in the Arabic world that everybody somehow showcases the meaning of their name in whatever they do. And I just want to tell you that when I started talking about humanizing business about 10 years ago, I was called all kinds of names. I was called a dreamer, which is not an insult, to be honest. But for business, everybody was saying, this is too fluffy, you're like a tree hugger. What do you mean humanizing business? And we needed a whole pandemic to start really thinking what is needed to change. The idea is very simple. It's whether employees, so business has two main stakeholders: the employees who think, who create, who produce, who sell, and customers. And it happens that customers and employees happen to be human. So when I talk about humanizing business, is really focusing on putting the human element at the heart of everything we do. It's not just about taking care of our employees, because whenever I speak about it, it's always referred to as, okay, you want to be good to the employees, which is needed. Because at the end of the day, who is customer facing? It is the employees. So to keep the human element alive, because as we look around us now with the automation, the digital transformation that keeps on happening, we are becoming more and more, going more and more towards robots who are on pilot. So by keeping that human element alive, even when we innovate new products, we want to make sure that we think of the beneficiaries of these products, or the users of these products or services are human, which means they have emotions. How do they think? How do they feel? What do they want? What are their pain points? So it's actually good for business. It's not against it. It's really about empathizing with others, whether if we are in a government, we're talking about we are serving citizens. If we are in companies, we're talking about internal customers who are employees and external customers who are the foundation of our business. And even if we're talking, for example, in healthcare, it's the patients. So it's really being human-centric in everything that we do and making sure that whatever we design, could be a solution, a product, a policy, a law, we engage the other persons, the beneficiaries with us on that journey.
That's fantastic. It's a really great mission.
Thank you. But it's not easy, but I'm getting there.
Definitely.
Yes.
So you started from Casablanca to New York and now to the vibrant city of Dubai. How have your experiences influenced your journey, and how Dubai has shaped your journey?
Yeah, good question. That journey is actually, I'm the product of that journey. So now when somebody asks me, where are you from? I cannot have a straight answer because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I was shaped through this journey. And I always introduce myself by saying that I was made in Casablanca. I was shaped in New York City, and definitely New York City shapes you. It's an aggressive city, it's bold, and then I say I'm thriving in Dubai. So of course, from every home, because I call them all home. I cannot say, when people ask me, what is your home? I say, do we have to have one? I have three
Yeah.
homes. These three magnificent cities feel home to me. And in Casablanca, where I'm very rooted, I feel very rooted. I think that I learned the sense of community, which translates into leadership as collaboration and care and empathy. So that comes from the African sense of community living, and also having grown up in a big family. We are 7 siblings.
Wow, mashallah.
Yeah, mashallah. With a father who was into farming. So community living was at the heart of how I grew up. And I took that with me it's still with me in whatever I do at work. And then in New York, it was the aggressiveness.
Busy city.
Yeah, busy city, bold. You learn how to be courageous. You learn also how to deal with different people from different places. Because I went from a homogeneous country, homogeneous city, and then I go to New York and it has hundreds of different nationalities. So that was my first time being exposed to different cultures. So that taught me as well to be open to different people, which again honed my skills of inclusion, of understanding that there are people who think differently, who have different religions, who have different ways of working, who have different customs. So that's what New York shaped me in that sense. And then in Dubai, of course,
the city of innovation
The city
and
of
growth.
innovation,
And, you know,
exactly.
as a woman, you feel here
absolutely very safe,
so empowered.
Yes,
very
and here,
safe.
it's the land of there is no word learned impossible. So the
Yes.
agility of the city, the possibilities that if you can dream it and you are persistent, you can make it. So yes, innovation, creativity, nothing is impossible. That's what I learned, and all of these skills are great for leadership.
Absolutely. Lastly, I was reading about the wise words of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed Al Maktoum. He said, like, when you see someone going around during night, a woman, like just feeling very safe, then it will be somewhere in the Emirates.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely
and
like
if
that.
you are, and safety is the basic need. If you don't have safety, how are you going to think about creativity?
Yes.
So safety gives you that trust. You are in a safe space. You are allowed to experiment with anything.
And you can grow.
And you can
from
grow.
that
There are no
place.
limits to growth. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm so grateful to have these 3 cities shaping my journey.
Fantastic. Your book, Seeds of Change, highlights adaptability and resilience. How do you personally approach change, especially when faced with unexpected challenges? And you know, change can be sometimes so overwhelming and so difficult. How can we embrace change? Because one of the greatest mentors, and also one of my favorite ones, Dr. Joy Dispenza, said,
Yes.
when you change your energy, you change your life. So how can we embrace change?
But first of all, we share the same mentor. Yeah, also.
He's
he's
a
amazing.
great
I like his
neuroscientist,
teachings.
a great teacher.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I also studied neuroscience of change as well. So first of all, we need to understand that change is the only constant in life, as they say. So understanding that change will happen. And to me, throughout my journey that I just described, my life was constant changes. So I have witnessed 9/11 happen in New York. I was there. So I saw change that has impacted history, I would say. There is a world before 9/11, 11 September 2001, and there's a world after that. So that was a big change that I witnessed, and I had to start thinking about a lot of changes that happened that affected me, especially with my identity and where I belong to. And then understand and change, and do not resist resistance. I always say that. Meaning, resisting change is normal. We are wired as human beings to resist change. So understanding that it's okay when you feel uncomfortable to change, acknowledge that and know that it's normal instead of feeling really uncomfortable. Why am I resisting this? And then understanding that we grow through adversity. We should not go through adversity, but grow through adversity. So understand that change is going to always happen. It is no longer about being the best or the expert of whatever you do. It's about being relevant.
Yes.
So understanding that growth is constant, that I need to always ask myself, am I relevant to what today's world needs from me, or today's team, or today's generation, or today's customers, whatever is your focus. So understanding that change is there, and then just flow with it and see one thing I want to share. Actually, when I deal with change management, especially in leadership, I flip the question and I ask people, say, what happened if we don't change? What if we don't change?
That's a great question. Yes.
So that's what I start with,
We
and even to
stop.
myself. Yes, exactly.
And we cannot grow. We cannot,
Absolutely.
transform ourselves.
Totally. So once I put that question first at the table, and I say, what if we don't change? And then people start thinking, well, no, then we have a lot to lose. So sometimes it's easier to have that reverse questions.
I think many people are scared of tapping into the unknown, because change can be sometimes, you don't know what will come, but you have to just be ready for it and just embrace and just tap into the unknown, because then magic can happen.
But that's what life is.
And you can transform. And life is about
Exactly.
that. That's
Do
true.
we know? But
Yes.
there's everything. This is why when people tell me, oh, today we don't know what's going to happen. I'm like, since when did we know what was
We
going
have
to
to
happen?
trust the process and just,
Absolutely.
go
Life
with the
is
flow.
full of unknowns. That's the essence of life. So it's like when, for example, when COVID happened and everybody's like, well, there's so much volatility. I said, the volatility has always been there. We
Even
never
in
are
that
sure.
challenging times, we learn to think about what is really the essence of life, how to be
Absolutely.
balanced, and what is really important and what matters in life.
Exactly.
And that brings me to another question. The ultimate goal in life, I think, is for all of us happiness. In everything we want to do, we want to feel happy, we want to feel fulfilled,
Correct.
balanced, just feel inner peace. I think happiness is very important for everyone. I'm curious, what's your personal happiness, Dr. Hanane?
My personal happiness, you just said it. You said the word, feeling balanced, centered, and feeling a sense of impact, that whatever I'm doing is creating some kind of impact. That makes me happy. And it's not,
Wonderful.
I always feel that happiness is not in what you acquire for yourself, but it's how you impact others' lives positively. And I've seen it throughout when I receive, for example, a testimonial or a message from somebody who tells me, you have changed my life, or you have helped me, or I'm so grateful for you, or the words that you said resonated. And I compare that with when I get paid, for example.
Yes.
It's just like a transaction. Yeah, we do need to get paid. It's a resource. But the sense, what happens here in my heart when I compare the two, and that's how I saw the patterns, and I realized that it's really the impact. When I feel that I have impacted somebody positively, it gives me an unmatchable sense of happiness.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Tawazun, which means balance in Arabic, is a platform launched at the Expo 2020 by you, focusing on balanced development. Can you tell us, how can you integrate purpose with profit in that?
Okay, that brings me to another definition of what I mean by humanizing business, because at the end of the day, we keep seeing two fragmented models. We have the hardcore profit-making model, business, and then we have the non-for-profit model, which relies still on grants and donations and all of that. The dream that I have, that's why people call me dreamer. And then, like I said, I take it as a compliment, because all the change makers in the world were dreamers.
Everything started with a dream.
So for me, I want to see a business model, or the only way we do business is we make money, but at the same time, we are creating a positive impact, which means I created the concept that's called purpose-driven profitability. So there's nothing wrong with making money while saving the world. And it's in our mindset, it's been like, oh, if you're a nonprofit, then you should do it for free.
Of course.
Or then you go and make 1,000% of profit. Why can't we have something in between? Because we're not going to be able to sustain this way. the harm that is being caused by the way we're doing business is not going to sustain us for, I don't know, maybe 30, 50 years. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So the idea is to change that mindset that how can I build a business that can make money, but at the same time creates positive impact. And I give examples so that it doesn't stay theoretical. For example, because I work a lot with entrepreneurs and I help them become more like socially inclined or environmentally inclined entrepreneurs. You could start a business and then use, for example, material that are not harmful. Or you could source material from minorities so that you help them, you help create jobs for them. Or you can hire people of determinations, for example, or more women. Or because at the end of the day, these are the social challenges. We have social challenges and we have environmental challenges.
Yes.
So it's really about choosing one of the big world challenges that we have and intent, depending on the industry that you are in, and see how can you integrate these elements into the way you're doing business and make money out of that. There's nothing wrong with that.
So it's all about balance.
It's balance.
Tawazun.
Absolutely, exactly. So that's
Yeah.
why for me, tawazun is a value that I want to spread across. How do we stay balanced as individuals?
Yes.
Because it starts with self-care. If you're not balanced, I cannot ask you to start recycling if you are burned out, for example, if you're going through
course,
burnout.
of course.
So it starts with self-care, with having balanced self, then bringing that to the workplace by being more inclusive, by helping people to be engaged and happy and allowing them to have that work-life balance. And then society feeling responsible. You know, there's one thing that really annoys me when people say, I'm giving back. I don't like this term. You're not giving back. It's your responsibility as a citizen of this world who was blessed with having more to give to the other. It's a responsibility to give to others, to make sure that you are bridging the gap, that we don't have people who have so much and people who have below nothing. And then the planet. We are all responsible to sustain the resources of the planet. And it starts with small changes that we can all afford to do to have an eco-friendly lifestyle. So,
Hanana, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for being here, for being alive, for being surrounded with loving family and friends, for having the chance to do a job that makes me feel fulfilled. I'm super grateful for that. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Being recognized as the Women of Impact in Leadership by the Middle East Institute of Excellence in 2025 is a huge achievement. How does it make you feel?
Well, it's great to be recognized. It means that you are seen. For me, all it means is that somebody sees that there is some value in the work I do. But what I see it is just a milestone. And recognition is just a clap, or I see it like a pat on the back, but it's not the end. It just means it feels more like a responsibility, because Woman of Impact is a huge title. That means I need to keep continuing that impact. So it becomes more of a responsibility than an honor to me. That's how I feel. Every time I'm recognized, I'm like, now I'm taking this honor, means it's a responsibility that I need to continue and do even more.
To strive more.
Absolutely, yes, totally.
As a woman in leadership, what advice would you give to other women aspiring to break barriers in traditionally male-dominated industries?
Okay. First, to stop saying I'm a woman in leadership. You wouldn't hear a man saying I'm a man in leadership. I'm just a leader. So first we need, and that's something that I'm working hard on as well.
That's a good point, yes.
We need to stop saying female this, female that, female leader, woman leader. You're just a leader.
Just as a human being.
You're a human being.
The skills are
and
important.
That's another part of humanizing business, to stop these gender-centric conversations and just think, you're a leader. Yes, you happen to be a woman, fine. But the minute we start thinking I'm a woman, sometimes we are the problem. And I say that with full accountability.
Yeah.
We are the problem because we start thinking that, oh, I'm a woman. And then when things don't happen, instead of looking inwards, maybe it's not, maybe it's my own self-confidence. Maybe it has nothing to do with the external world.
Yeah.
It's not always men who are the problem. It's not the others who are the problem. So that's why, because it was planted, that seed of women in leadership, a woman looking for her space, then you walk in with that mindset. Remember, you said Joe Dispenza speak a lot about changing the energy. So here it is, changing from I'm a woman, and then you start looking at every challenge as, oh, it happened because I'm a woman. Oh, I wasn't accepted because I'm a woman. So first, let's detach. You're a human. You're an individual who has talent, who can do it. and that's it, and that's how it starts.
So we should not separate ourselves from the whole. We as a
Absolutely
human
not.
being,
Yes.
with our skills, we matter.
Absolutely, yes.
And
We do have different needs,
Of
but the
course.
minute is what I'm trying to say, the minute we start thinking I'm a woman, then things won't happen, then we are bringing that problem to ourselves.
course, yes.
Because sometimes we feel like I'm not going to ask for my needs because, oh, what are they going to think about me? What if I ask for maternity leave? What if I ask to leave early to go to see my children? They will say,
Yeah.
oh, see, because she's a woman. No, you're just an individual who has specific needs and other responsibilities and wants to balance it, and go and be bold and ask for it, because you need to know what you're bringing to the table.
Yes, it's all part of us.
It's all part of that.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're a whole. You don't need to fragment yourself, because I see a lot of women thinking I need to embrace the masculine model of leadership
Yeah.
for me to succeed. And that's inauthentic. And that's why you see many of them quit after a few years, or they
course.
burn out, or they become sick, or they're unhappy. And I've seen many of them, because I run women's circle and I listen to the challenges.
Yeah.
And I think the main reason for that is this inauthenticity and always feeling vulnerable that we are women. We
Yeah.
need to start by changing that.
How do you balance being a writer, an entrepreneur, and also how can you balance your personal life to keep this tawazun in your personal and professional life?
Okay. Well, first, and when you asked me about what I was grateful for, I'm blessed that I can manage my own work, because I work for my own. I manage my own company, so that gives me a bit of flexibility.
Yes.
And when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. So that's the thing. So for me, that's part of me. I don't feel that there is a personal life and a work life. There is life, and what I do is part of it. So there is work, there's family,
Yes.
there are my personal passions as well. I prioritize. I'm not going to tell you that I have it. Being balanced does not mean that we distribute equally the time amongst everything. No,
You
that's
see it
a myth.
holistically,
I see
like
it
you as a
holistically.
person, you
Yeah,
have
but
everything in one.
It's
Yes.
really about being mindful that you don't let one aspect of life take over for too long. Sometimes, if I have a project that requires that I work on the weekends, I would work the weekends. But then I make sure that I don't do that for a full month. So it's really about being mindful that I take time for myself and I take time for work. And if I have to sacrifice for one aspect sometimes, then I make sure I balance it out moving forward. One tip I do, for example, is, for me, going to the gym is very important. So being active. So I put that on my calendar. It's not an afterthought for me.
Oh, yes.
So my calendar I know that this is the time, unless I have really an engagement. So when I plan my week and I can postpone calls, if they are just calls, they're not really interventions, I have to be present or I have to travel, then I know that, for example, I don't take calls before 10. And it's blocked in my calendar. So because that's part of what I do. It's not first work has to finish, then I do the rest. I block, for example, after 9 p.m., I don't take calls. I tell everyone. So it's really about prioritizing and making sure that you're not giving your full time to one aspect of your life. That's how I try to do it.
Yes. It's so important to keep the balance between body, mind, and soul. To be feeling like inner peace and be fulfilled. When you have one day, for example, alone for yourself, how is that day shaped?
If it's like a day without work, you
Yes.
mean? Well, I
Like just to keep the balance for yourself.
I need my silent time. Sometimes I need to. So I take the phone. My phone is not in my bedroom, so it charges outside. I started that just in 2025. That was one of the
Okay.
changes. So I bought an old school alarm to see so my phone is not next to me, because that sense of urgency of taking the phone and that's it, and you start messaging.
Yeah.
So I would start with my silent time. I'm grateful I have a little garden where I live, and I have my pets. They are my companions. They give me that balance. I learned from them that it's okay to not do anything.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not have to answer. I mean, you call them, they don't look at you. And I learned from them that it's okay to not answer. Not every call is urgent. So for me, spending time in nature, when I say nature, it means whatever is green, and a little bit of greenery, or if I can go by the beach, I will go on the beach by the sea. And I would do some activity, some physical activity.
Yeah.
And then I would connect with my mom, who's abroad. So just to feel that we are in touch. And I'll cook. I like to cook. For me, that's...
What's your favorite dish?
You see, as somebody who talks always about innovation, I like to create things. So I like
amazing.
our Moroccan
Do you improvise
cuisine.
sometimes
I
as
do
well?
improvise,
I do
yes.
that sometimes,
Yes.
like just mixing things
Absolutely.
and improvising.
And whatever is in the fridge, I try to create something out of that. And I feel that cooking is because you're creating something. You are converting resources into something ready to eat. So that also helps me. And then I would see my friend. I have a sister who lives here. So I would go and see them, or I'll see some friends. I like to socialize. So it's really about balancing time for myself, time for what matters, connecting with nature, socializing, and nurturing myself. So that's how I would do it.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Hanan, if you could have dinner with 3 women, past or present, who would they be and what will you ask them?
Okay, good question. First, I think none of them is in the present. Is that okay? Okay.
Of course.
Okay. First, I would invite Fatima Al-Fihri. Don't know if you're aware of Fatima Al-Fihri. Fatima Al-Fihri is the woman who founded the first university in the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about that. And that university happens to be in Morocco now, in Fes. You can still visit it. It's
That's
still ongoing.
great.
It was established in 859. I would ask her what motivated her and convinced her to invest in knowledge and start a university at a time where women were not taking leadership roles. So whatever she inherited from her father, she decided to invest in knowledge and university that still exists.
That's fantastic.
It is fantastic, especially for her being a Muslim woman, where a lot of people think that Muslim women didn't have really a say at the time. So that's why I always bring her as the first role model, because she set the tone for what is known today as knowledge. Even the gowns that graduates wear were inspired from there. The way they wear the gowns.
That's great.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
when you educate a woman, you educate the whole
Absolutely.
world.
So for her to be bold enough to start university, to invest her own money and start a university. So I would have her then ask her, how did she, because she's a pioneer.
Right.
And like I said, a lot of people don't even know that she existed. And for her to choose that instead of anything else, why did she choose knowledge and education, which is something that's close to my heart? The second one will be an African woman. As you can see, I'm very rooted in Africa. Her name is Wangari Maathai, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce her name. She's a Nobel Prize winner.
Yes.
And she was a social environmental justice advocate. And I would ask her, how did she manage when she was politically and socially, she struggled politically and socially to reach that. And because for me, these kind of women, whether they're both from Africa, which is known, or at least at the time, women are still struggling for a lot of rights. I mean, the whole world, actually, women are struggling for rights. But for them to be pioneers and to defy the system, the social system that still looks at women as secondary citizen in so many countries, for them to be that bold, what was the driver behind that? And the third one, I would think of somebody from the future. If I could think of a girl who probably now is 10, and then if we had to travel from the future, then I would ask her, what did they learn from us? What did they carry forward? What has changed for women? What is the legacy that we have left that was beneficial to them?
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So,
and what would you ask your younger self if you had the possibility? To change something, maybe.
To change something is to define her own success metrics rather than being pressured by what society expects, and build a life around that rather than what society expects, which I managed to do as an adult.
You're doing
but
it, yes.
I'm doing it. Yes, I'm very proud of that. But that's what I would ask her. And also another advice I would tell her is that nothing is worth, no achievement is worth our own well-being. So nothing should come at the expense of our own well-being. No achievement, no success no amount of anything that you can acquire is worth if it's taken away from your values or from your own well-being.
It is so important, yes. Well-being, mental well-being, overall well-being of us, to maintain that, to be balanced, to always, feel, to be at peace with yourself.
Absolutely.
And also keep your values.
Yes,
it
keep
is so
your values.
important.
Absolutely, yes.
Everything we do, it should be like, with purpose and to
Yes.
be also associated with our values.
And it should align with your values. If your value is money, then that's your value. But at least live a life, what I call is congruent, where whatever you say or you think about or you think those are your values, that's how you're living your life. There is no conflict. That's what brings happiness, I would say. People who are unhappy, you would find that they're either working in a place that doesn't align with their values, or they have to do things that are against what they believe in. So being value driven, make sure that whatever you are, it's aligned with your values and your own well-being.
Yeah,
that's
true. If there was a movie made about your life, who would play you and what would be the title?
Oh my gosh, that's a tough question. The title, maybe, the title I would borrow it from a book. And a song, either a book or a song. The Road Less Traveled is a book that it's one of my favorites that I read, which showcases when you choose the road less traveled by others, means you choose a different path. And a song by Frank Sinatra, I Did It My Way.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that could be the
That's
title
a great
of the
song.
book. Yes. I feel it's the song that reflects. But to play my role, I can't think of somebody who can play my role, to be honest with you. No.
Okay.
I would play my own role in a movie.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received from another woman? It is so important that women empower other women and we can create magic.
Yes, definitely.
Any piece of advice you got from another woman?
Yes, never doubt yourself. That's it. That was very simple.
That's great.
Never doubt yourself. Yes, very simple.
You've mentioned 3 powerful words in your leadership journey: passion, proactivity, and persistence. And you say persistence
Correct.
is so important. How have these shaped your approach to leadership and success?
Okay. Well, actually, these 3 Ps, I call them my 3 Ps, they were not, I didn't start with them. I actually realized after a long journey that when I looked back, what was keeping me going, then they emerged as this is exactly what was keeping me going. So it wasn't like a formula that I followed, but it was a formula that I have identified that it was exactly what kept me going. Because at the end of the day, I found out that I chose what I'm doing because I was passionate about it. So the first trigger that makes you want to go and do something is that you are passionate about it. Because even when things don't work the same way, that's what keeps you going, because it's beyond having a job. It's beyond making money. It's really bigger, something bigger than yourself. So being passionate about something keeps you going, makes you, I would say, being obsessed about it, feeling like, no, this is the change I want to make. But it's not enough, because that helps you identify, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. But things are not just going to happen. So you have to be proactive, start knocking doors, start making plans, start finding out how you're going to convert that idea you're passionate about into a reality. So that's proactivity. And because nothing's going to fall from the sky. And then even when you start being proactive, not every door you knock will open, or at least open at the first time. And that's where persistence came at play for me. Being persistent means sometimes having to change, having to pivot the ideas, not being, yes, I'm passionate about the outcome, but I'm not passionate about how it needs to look like. I'm passionate about my why. And that's the advice I give to entrepreneurs I work with. Just because you think this product is a great idea does not mean everybody will think that it is. So you need to be passionate about what would this product do to others, how it's going to change their life or improve it or enhance their experience. And then you can pivot and create a different product. So it's really being passionate about what is it that you want to do, what is the value and the proposition that you are creating with whatever you are doing. So that's why when I say persistence, it means not persistent to do things the same way you started it, but persistent in making it happen.
If you had a superpower to make people change the world, what would it be?
To change their mindset, to make them think that we don't live as an individual, we need to live for others. So it's really that accountability of
Shifting the mindset.
shifting the mindset and leading with love, I would say. You know, remember you said that you search my name, what it
Yes.
means. My initials in Arabic, when they put next to each other, they mean it's ba, which means hub, which means love in Arabic. So I would just try to spread that value of love in everybody's mind, to lead with love, to deal with love, to love differences.
That's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I would change my answer to, I would
Lead with love.
I would lead with love. Yeah, I would make them lead
Can
with
you
love.
say that in Arabic?
Yeah, قيادة بالحب.
قيادة اللي بحب.
قيادة بالحب.
That's amazing.
Yes.
What's one thing you do each day to make you feel unstoppable?
I look at the mirror and I say, you can do it. Yeah, I do that. I mean, people call me crazy, but I talk to myself in the mirror.
But that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I say, I talk to myself as if I was my own mother. So I always think of that little girl who is me. And I talk to myself as I call myself Hanouna. That's how people call me. As that's the nickname or the soft name. And I look at the mirror and say, Hanouna, you look beautiful. You can do it.
So are you like also taking your inner child in your arms?
Absolutely, yes. I've been mothering my inner child. Without, I mean, before even knowing this concept of inner child, it was just there in me. Yeah. I used to be hard sometimes on me, but I learned to lead with love, more with love. You grow. That's what I meant by, if I go back to the younger self, I would also teach her to not be so hard on herself, because
Love yourself is also
love
important,
yourself, and instead of saying,
and take care of yourself as well.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. That's the start. I mean, it might sound cliche when we say that,
but I think that's so important.
It is very important.
It is so important to take care for ourselves and also of our inner child.
Yes.
To just, have our inner child in our arms.
Definitely.
To embrace also this love, what you said, lead with love, and self-care is so important for everyone,
and
especially for
playful.
us women.
Yes, definitely. I also always play. I spend time with kids a lot, with younger generation. I mean, I have 10-year-old and 7-year-old friends who call me the grown-up bestie, and that's the best title I was ever given.
That's amazing to hear. Yes. Because children are seeing always, they always seeing that what they see.
Yes, absolutely.
And they see the truth, and they see everything, and the real.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. That's
so I keep that playfulness, spending time and feeling that's part of nurturing the inner child. I play a lot, and so that keeps me unstoppable, because I don't feel that pressure with age or anything. That's it.
Keeping the child alive in us.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
So
it's very important.
Yes.
There is a line between being childish and playful. So
exactly.
Yes, I know the difference. So just to want to reinforce that thought. Yeah.
The power of change is so important, and change, we talked, can be sometimes so challenging and overwhelming. Sometimes when women face a transformation, they feel like overwhelmed. And how can we, for example, embrace this change, and how can we transform easily?
Sure. I think women are more inclined to change than men, because biologically we go through a lot of change. We have different stages.
Yeah.
So there's puberty, and then there's pregnancy for whoever chooses that, and then there is the hormonal changes. So we are used to dealing with different changes that are periodic and that were born with us, biological changes. So and I think we all understand that we have to go through that. So the same way we feel overwhelmed. Yes, it's like I said, it's about acknowledging that, yes, I'm gonna feel overwhelmed. Yes, I'm gonna feel vulnerable, but I have to grow through this. And prioritizing, asking questions, breaking that transformation into smaller milestones, because sometimes we go through a transformation and we feel like I need to reach that far. And we feel overwhelmed because we are looking at that far goal that could really seem too complicated. But break it down into smaller milestones or smaller stations where you're going to stop.
Yes.
That will give you that feel of, okay, now I'm achieving something. Then there is the next step, and then the next step. So that's one of the advice I give to everybody who's going through a transformation. And again, acknowledging that, the change is the only thing that we cannot we cannot change. Change will happen.
It's constant.
And acknowledging that I will resist it. I will go with that resistance. I'll flow. I'll ask myself what could work if I change, or again, what could not work if I don't change. And I will give you another example from nature that shows how change can bring adversity, but we have to go through it. A lobster.
Yes.
When a lobster grows, I learned that from a YouTube video, and I was really, I was mesmerized. When a lobster grows, it needs to shed its shell. So it stays vulnerable without a shell for 20 minutes. That's a long time, because it could be devoured by another species. So it sheds the shell and stays vulnerable for 20 minutes until it grows another one, which means the shell does not grow. So the same way, sometimes we can grow within what we're doing. We have to let go of the old and grow a new shell, just like the lobster. But know that to grow that new shell, you might stay vulnerable and feel uncomfortable for a certain time. It's the same way.
Wow, yes. That's
adversity
really
is time of growth.
Yes,
when we feel uncomfortable, means we're growing.
Stepping into the unknown and don't feel unwell about this.
Don't feel unwell, but say that, yes, I am in it. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to keep asking the questions. And for leaders, it's always challenging because they feel like, because I'm a leader, I need to have all the answers. No, vulnerability is a strength now. You don't have to have all the answers, but you can say that I don't have all the answers now, but I'll keep searching and trying to find out what are the answers that we can get, and we go through this together.
Hanan, what's next for you and Tawazun?
Well, Tawazun.
Any projects we are?
Yes, Tawazun keeps growing because now it started as an idea, as a community to spread balance across 4 pillars. Because I feel it needs to be holistic and integrated, people, workplace, society, and planet. And now it's growing more into more structured educational platform, advocacy, and also execution of sustainable and balanced strategies. And there's another book coming as well.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
So we're looking forward to.
Yes, I just felt that Seeds was more of a business book, but then when I keep talking about sense, engage, empower, develop, sustain, which is the acronym of or the steps of Seeds. I felt that many of them could be converted to personal transformation. So I'm making now a book about personal transformation, how we can use Seeds for personal transformation. It's Seeds of Growth.
That is very exciting.
Yes, thank you.
Personal development is
needed, absolutely.
It's very, very needed.
Crucial.
Yeah, definitive. What do you believe are the core qualities of inner strength that every woman can develop to empower herself and others? We women need to be encouraged to trust our own instincts and power, I think.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the skills that we have. It's intuition and the gut feeling that informs us. And that's the S from Seeds, sensing, which I believe will become or will be or is even now the core skill for any leader, because the world is so volatile. We can't really predict just using data or data analytics. So we need to add that sensing where we will have to take risks, but we will have to base sometimes our decisions based on how we feel rather than having all the facts in front of us. And I think that's something that we women do best. And we need to be more confident about being intuitive, being a core leadership skill for the future.
Yes, our intuition always guides us.
Totally.
And we always know when we trust our inner strength, like inner voice, we know what's right for us.
Totally.
And when you have this good feeling like about it, I think just follow that.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Just follow it and know that you are taking a risk, but it's okay. It's part of growth.
Because it's your way at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
If you could change one thing about the way women approach change and inner strength, what would it be? I'm
going to repeat myself, just to stop thinking I'm a woman and just think I'm a human being who is capable, who has all it takes. That's it.
That's fantastic.
That's where it needs to start.
That's fantastic.
Because that will boost confidence, and I think that's what we need more. We have everything inside. We just need to be more confident to showcase it and not doubt ourselves.
That's fantastic. Everything comes from inside. And when
Absolutely.
we believe in ourselves and believe in our inner strength, we can achieve anything.
100%.
Thank you so much for this empowering conversation, Dr. Hanane. It was a great pleasure. And I'm truly sure that our audience and our listeners feeling empowered, inspired by your wisdom today. And I hope that they can step into their own brilliance and get some inspiration from you.
Yes, totally. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I hope that some of the insights will resonate with women and men. And I hope that it will be one first seed, because everything starts with the first seed. So everybody needs to think, what is the first seed of change I'm going to plant so that I can grow and I see that brilliance blossom later?
Amazingly said by you. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening today. And stay tuned for more empowering conversations from the Empowered Brilliance podcast. Be inspired and step into your own brilliance. Until next time.